All right, now I want to segue into kind of the fitness segment. In this part we talk about just areas of body health, how it pertains to your practice. So how does fitness play a role in naturopathic medicine? Like how do you work fitness in, or how do you prescribe fitness into that?
Sure. So most patients, with very few exceptions, do need some plan for fitness. The type of prescription that the person will be given just depends on who that person is. But most people do need some activity every day, moving their body, and even tying it back into the stress hormones. We know that whether or not those stress hormones are too high or too low, being active and fit helps to balance them, whichever way that they are. We know that exercise is an incredibly potent antidepressant. It's also been shown to improve anxiety, and that can have the same effect in children. So when we feel that children are having anxieties, or which is one way that the behavioral issues can show up if it's an anxiety, just getting them outside, especially being active outside, is always helpful. That connection with nature really is also very therapeutic. But everyone needs to move their body every day. That doesn't always mean that everyone needs to do high impact cardio every single day. Sometimes it's good to mix it up with more regenerative and relaxing types of movement, like yoga or qigong. These things can still help get the blood moving, but not be so excessively stimulating. And some people, when their stress hormones are imbalanced, it might be too much to do high cardio daily. So there is some place for restorative types of exercise that are only getting the heart rate up mildly, but have almost more of a mental effect in just really helping to calm them down, with yoga probably being the best example there.
Right. And then for younger, for younger kids, of course they can't get into high impact cardio or things like that. But what are activities that younger kids can do that can decrease their stress levels and get them to level out a little bit?
Yeah, so there are actually some really great videos on yoga for kids, and I think it really is a wonderful thing to do with your child. Not only does it teach them to focus on their breathing, that can help them learn how to manage their own stress when they are out. If they are at school and feeling overwhelmed or something's happening, that kind of breathing technique that they learn from yoga, they can actually apply into their daily life. And the certain, videos, parents can find these things. They do teach it to a child's level where, it's in a way that children can understand, and the poses are poses that are easier for children to do. That's one of my favorites for children who we feel are either overstimulated, overstressed, or also maybe a little bit depleted and wiped out and need some kind of gentle exercise without doing too much. So I love that idea. I also just love the idea of children being outside, playing creatively. Doesn't have to be any organized type of activity. I mean, I think those things are fine. Sports and whatnot definitely have a place, but it's also great to just let the children outside in a safe space to explore nature, climb trees, just do whatever it is that their body is telling them to do, and just having fun and exploring their environment, but at the same time being active. So those things are great. I think the organized sports do have a place. We had talked earlier about maybe not doing too much of it. Some parents, I think, get, a little, I don't know what it is, over competitive or over scheduling for the purposes of trying to keep their child competitive for high school and college, which I understand. But those things have a place, but maybe not a 7 day a week, 1 hour a day type thing. That I think is probably too much for most children.
Yeah, I certainly agree. And for parents, who think that way, who are on who have the mindset that they want their kids to participate in sport after sport and activity after activity, like what advice can you give them to not so much to chill on doing so much of that, but really to find a balance and not putting their kids in so much activity that it overwhelms their body and their mind?
Yeah. I usually just try to explain how important it is for the child to be well balanced. So it's great to have a sport that helps them to keep their body fit, but also to have other creative outlets and try to split their time between doing a little bit of sport, but also making time for arts, music, you had mentioned before, something else that calls on a different part of the brain, gives them a little bit of downtime, something a little more creative. balancing out the go 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 of the sports. Also explain to the parent, making sure that this is not just their goal for their child, but also matching something that their child is expressing interest in. And if the child is having trouble in school, they can't focus, they're struggling academically, that might be a sign that it's too much for them. So we always have to go back to how the child is functioning. Is the child actually thriving on this plan that you've created for them, or are they becoming unhealthy? And if they're becoming unhealthy, we have to look at what is going on in that child's life and make a change. Otherwise, that child will just continue down that road.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Because you do see a lot of parents who put children in sports that, either they wanted to do or they think the kids should do. And I guess I'm of the mind, when you talk about just being more holistic is, well, what does the child gravitate towards?
Right.
What gets them really excited? What do they stay perked up about? Is this activity something that they really enjoy and love and doesn't deplete from that reservoir of energy that they have, versus maybe something that they're pressed into that does deplete from that and creates more stress?
Yeah, 100%. That is very very true. It's so important for children to follow their passion, whatever that might be at their age, and allow them to explore what it is that they are drawn to. I think that is really important.
Thank you for listening to this session of TheraFit. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our web address, holisticfamilysolutions.com, to your friends and colleagues. Be sure to check out the archive section of our website for previous podcasts. This has been an HFS production. Join us next time for another edition of TheraFit.